Okay, for this video, what we're going to do is the core experiment with the two Provents connected in series. Basically, I've got two Provents on my Mercedes Sprinter van. I'm going to drive I have driven over 4,000 kilometers and we'll see the results. So this is what I've done. First, we just took the filters apart and we just weighed some parts. The empty catchment, for example, was 75 grams. The primary filter, the secondary filter, and just as an experiment I just pulled the EGR pipe apart too. Nothing really happened with that. We just reset the clock on my van. This was all the preparation I did before I sort of went on the large road trip and drove my car around. But yeah, the Provents on and connected in series, and then we drove 4,200 kilometers. Most of it was highway driving, but there was a bit of city driving also. And yeah, it was interesting to see how much it picked up, as we'll see further. So that's just a picture of the dashboard, and I was getting pretty good range on the car, 600 to 700 kilometers per tank, 75 litre tank of diesel. And just some more information there if you guys are interested. So let's check the secondary filter out after the drive. Let's see, is there any change? We can see it's different now. It's having to filter out particulate soot. It's dirty, and we just put it aside and have a look in there. It's still pretty clean, not having to filter much out. What about the primary filter? We can see that it's been working pretty hard. It's pretty saturated with soot and sludge. There's moisture all in there. It's just a mixture of everything. So I tried to pull it out carefully. And like what I'm saying here, the filters are connected in series. So the primary filter does most of the heavy work. That's why it's so dirty. I'm assuming that it's doing over 95% of the filtering, maybe even more. Let's look inside the catch can and see what it looks like. So there's a buildup of sludge in there. It's obviously working and picking up residue. And as we'll see after, there is quite a bit that it managed to pick up from the motor, which is good. Maybe it's money well spent. Well, let's see. So that's the catchment from the bottom of the engine. It's full of oil and soot, and it's thick. You can see it spills out everywhere. The oil and the water and the sludge is all separated. I've just tried to show the difference. The viscosity is different of the oil. It's changed. It's a lot thicker. It'd be interesting to have two separate catchments, one for each Provent, just to see how much the ratio of how different each filter is working. So now we just do the weights again after the drive, and we'll see if there's any different. So that's the result. 170 grams of sludge was captured for 4,200 kilometers. There was an increase in the filters, about 9 grams gain. Both filters had about 8 or 9 grams gain of sludge. It seems that they saturate, the filters saturate to a certain point, and then after they saturate, they start running off into the catch below. The EGR pipe had no significant difference for this. It was probably 1 to 3 grams at best. It was just a fun experiment. So this is probably the important part. If there's 170 grams per 4,200 kilometers, what about after 4,200 kilometers? It's going to capture much more. I'm assuming it could be 1.7 litres or a 10-fold increase, which is a lot. It's keeping it might be keeping your engine a lot cleaner than what you think. And just some other thoughts. I mean, if the engine is different than mine, or it's under-serviced, or the driving style is different, the results might be different again. And I mean, if you have any questions, post them below.